Welcome to the Block Sitdown. This is the One Foot In podcast where we take one foot into the college football world. This week we're going to be talking about, or this episode, in fact, we're going to be talking about the Week 5 post-game reactions, take a little deep dive. We got a little 2-minute drill from yours truly. We're going to go over a couple highlight games, a lot of ranked matchups this week, but just take a little step back. We were supposed to do a podcast a couple days ago, man, for the pregame, get our what's it called, game predictions in. So like when I talk about the post games, I'm gonna talk about I'm kind of gonna go back a little bit and backtrack. Hey, I thought this was gonna happen. This was like what's gonna go on. I thought, and then just kind of just backtrack a little bit. But from this point on, we're gonna be doing two podcasts a week. It didn't happen last week, but from here on out, it's gonna be two podcasts. It's gonna be a post game one, uploading on Wednesday, and then pre-game for the upcoming games. We're gonna be streaming that, recording that on a Thursday, so you can go check that out. Link in the description, and then it's gonna be uploaded on a Friday. So yeah, we got college football to talk about. How y'all feeling today?
I'm doing good. I wish I wasn't late, but that doesn't matter. We're here now. Let's get the ball rolling.
Wait, is that a new
Oh yeah,
background?
new setup, new setup. That was the main reason why. No one the reason why we didn't get to do it last week. But it was supposed to be a 2-man show last week, but things happened.
Yeah, it was
Supposed to be a 2-man show. I was obviously in the process of moving, so I couldn't make it. So, but that's in the past. We here in the future. Go ahead. Yeah.
all right. Is there any games y'all would like to start out with?
Nope.
Go.
Let's
We're
get the
gonna
dice
start out with
rolling.
the whiteout then. We're gonna start out with the whiteout. A lot of people in the first half were very upset with this game. It was a slugfest. A lot of defenses showed up for both teams and ended up, I think, being tied at half, like 3-3. But it picked up at the end, ended up going to overtime. Penn State and the Nittany Lions at home. James Franklin hit one of the big games again. Drew Adler came back to college. One of his biggest games in his career at college, he decided to put up 137 yards over passing. So that's just not going to be able to get it done, especially when you face a number 6 Oregon team that's as dominant as they've been the past couple weeks and this year. And Dante Moore is looking like that guy for Oregon. And in the whiteout, he hit up Bo Nix, trying to get some insight how to beat this whiteout. And I don't know what Bo Nix told him, but something helped because they were able to pull out the win 30-24. Oregon moves on to 5-0 and are now ranked as the number 2 team in the country. And Penn State, unproven. Both teams were unproven. And at this point, we don't know what a Penn State team looks like. The run game, I thought was going to be able to get it done, but Nick Singleton, 11 carries for 21 yards. Katron Allen, 12 carries for 54 yards. I don't know what happened in the backfield. I didn't really see Katron get it started until it was the fourth quarter, and they needed him. But again, the offense for Penn State is still struggling. But shout out Oregon, shout out Dan Lanning. Went to the whiteout and just completely kept that crowd out of it as much as he could. VJ, how you feel about this game?
Man, it was definitely a lot of people were expecting, a crazy shootout type of game, blah blah blah. I was a bit mixed on it. I knew it was gonna be a tight, contested game, but definitely like going in at half, did not expect it to be that low. But overall, it was definitely a good game. To speak on it about Penn State, they're still struggling. And this was definitely a prove it type of game, and especially at home, almost everything looked like it should be their way. Home whiteout game.
I'll say more young quarterback going into the setting.
Literally young quarterback, first time starter basically. So it's like, the advantages were there, but they basically didn't rile a comeback till the fourth quarter. They were down a heavy bit, but they came back fourth quarter, got it to overtime, but then just kind of folded at the end. So Penn State kind of, choked a little bit, to be honest with you. Like, they had the comeback, and then they kind of sold the comeback. That's how it is. For Oregon, honestly, I think this is honestly just good for Oregon. Like, I think this is their clear-cut pathway to, like, go to the end and probably go undefeated in Big Ten play, honestly.
Yeah, for the regular season, they're more than likely going to be undefeated at this point. They don't got
literally
on the schedule, and it should be a clear path to Indianapolis.
Literally, dude, such a big win for Oregon. They handled adversity. They started folding a little bit, vice versa. They started folding a little bit when Penn State are coming back. but then they clutched up at the end in overtime. Dante Moore, he's in combos now. This is definitely one of those games. He's in combos now. But overall, to like look at both sides, I'll be honest. I do want to shout out Penn State's defense for even keeping them in the game for that long. Holding Oregon for only 17? It was like 17-3 at a time. Going into fourth, honestly, you can't ask the defense to do any more. You needed that offense to step up, and they did for that moment. But like I said, at the end, they just choked. So, a good one for Oregon. Sucks for Penn State, but Penn State does have technically about 1 to 2 more shots, depending on how the schedule goes. I mean, the first shot will be against Ohio State, but they got to come to Ohio State. And the second shot will be Indiana, but who knows if Indiana will even still be that highly ranked or ranked possibility at that moment, because Indiana does face Oregon soon. So we'll see how that looks. But yeah, I mean, how you feel about this one, right?
Honestly, going back to what you said with their defense, they got a new defensive coordinator. Who is it? It's Jim Knowles. Where did Jim Knowles come from? Yeah, I mean, he was at Oklahoma State, right? Before he transferred over to Ohio State for 3 years. Made that first year Ohio State, already seen a big difference. Second year Ohio State, he was like top 5 in defense. And then last year Ohio State, he won a national championship. Then he went over to Penn State. Who knows why? Now he lost, but hey, that's his choice. But I feel like, to me, Penn State offense, it's always been that offense where it just, I don't know, they always did some weird, not traditional like football plays that to me, it's like a very different formation. It just try to like get our defense in different like looks, like try to confuse us. That's what Penn State always try to do, or at least James Franklin, and I just never believed in it. And honestly, and then at one point, I was hearing that Drew Allen was going to be possibly the number 1 like QB in the draft, and then he go play the Oregon Ducks, who's ranked number 2 now. But Oregon coming to your home into freaking Penn State in a whiteout, there's no way Drew Allen should be throwing for 137. This all scream, like I said, we all knew it should have been Penn State way, and somehow, some way, the only reason why they was even in the game was because of their defense. So it's like if they bring in Jim Knowles for that defense, he did his part, but James Franklin, what are you doing on your part on offense? So it sucks for James Franklin, because it's like he's getting that Ryan Day treatment in the sense of like, you cannot win the big game, and he's really struggling to win the big game. If you can't win at home in the whiteout in your best environment possible, especially against basically a first-time starter in Dante Moore, I mean, if anything, it shows that Dante Moore, he's that guy. He's that guy. He came to play. He did what we as a Buckeye fan want from Julian Sand, to face that adversity of being down, being in that tough environment, to see if you have that dog in you, to see if you could take your team out of it. They would have done double overtime, and obviously Oregon defense came in clutch at the end with an interception to seal the game. But shout out Oregon, y'all played a very tough game. Shout out Dante Moore, a very tough environment to be in the first time starting, and you came out to win. Like, you should be easily phasing into the Big Ten. If not, easily will be probably, if you win all your games, you should be easily in the college football playoff without a doubt. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
As far as James Franklin goes, he acknowledged in the post game interview, like, yeah, like this, like 2 in I think 21 record against ranked opponents or something like that, top 10 opponents. I don't know what the stat was, but he just came with the big games. He acknowledged it and kind of gave a good answer about it, just acknowledging it. But Drew Aller, he's 6'5", 235. He's the prototypical NFL quarterback that should be going first round. This offense hasn't got clicking the entire year. A lot of people just expected it to happen on the fly with Oregon, and I kind of was the same way. I was kind of like, okay, this is the time for you to show up. Hey, you didn't have to really face against nobody, and you didn't need to like show out. Drew Aller didn't need to, because you were able to just beat them teams and win. Because you got Kaytron Allen, because you got Nick Singleton, I think one of the 2 best backs in all of college football, and it's in both of your backfields. They're both in your backfield. But it just the defense kept you in the game. But Penn State, you let a Decorian Moore, freshman wide receiver, have his best game against you in the second half. He woke up that more to more connection, and you basically just got beat by two like first year starters in a whiteout in your biggest hyped up game, and it's because Drew Aller couldn't get it going. I don't know what it is. I don't know why you went to the transfer portal and grabbed all these wide receivers. That's just not helping Drew Aller. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't want to blame the wide receiver. I don't want to blame Drew Aller, but it's a Drew Aller problem a little bit, but it's the OC James Franklin. He needs to figure it out. And they need to figure out they have some time before that Columbus game, but it's gonna be going to Columbus and then going back to Penn State and facing Indiana back to back. And in Mendoza, he's looking like a way better quarterback than Drew Aller is. And if you let him get going against that Penn State defense real early, oh, you don't have time to struggle against the Mendoza led Indiana offense. The Indiana defense is another thing, but I expect Drew Aller, he's an Ohio guy. He should be circling this Columbus Day on his schedule, and he should be ready to ball out because they need Penn State needs to win either the Ohio State game or the Indiana game. He needs to win one. He can go into the college football playoffs with 2 losses, but he needs to beat one of them ranked teams. And you got to hope Indiana keeps winning out, like VJ said, because that needs to be a good win if you do choose to beat Indiana over Ohio State, because I don't see them getting both. But again, I think going from here on out, we're not going to hear Penn State a lot. They're just going to keep winning their games in the Big Ten until that Columbus Day comes up. And again, Drew Aller's an Ohio guy. He wasn't scouted by Ohio State, and it's now his senior year. He has nothing to lose now and everything to gain. So I mean, nothing to lose, but shit, that Ohio State game as an Ohio State fan it hurts me a little bit more because
Yeah.
we talking about a senior quarterback versus a Julian Sand led team, which I hope he's ready for that big moment. But yeah, I don't know. Oregon. You said they faced Indiana a couple weeks. They're number 2 team in the country now, and they're looking legit. Penn State, they're one of the unknowns. And if we're talking tiers of the Big Ten, it's Ohio State, Oregon, and I think you maybe push Indiana in there. But that second tier is going to be Penn State until they prove me otherwise.
And then we can't forget about Michigan. Obviously, it's like they got even though they lost early.
Michigan, Illinois.
Yeah, they lost early to Oklahoma, but it's like they could still win out. And yeah, Illinois, they also got upset it too. So like I said, they Penn State, Illinois, Michigan, they in the same bracket. But don't be surprised all of a sudden Michigan pull it through, over both them teams. But yeah. I'm good with this game.
Yeah, the offensive woes of Penn State needs to get figured out. And fast. Drew Aller didn't come back for no reason. He's ready to go for a championship. He's trying to go to the playoffs. So this is one stick in the road, but it's looking very similar to that Ohio State team from last year. They lost to Oregon early, was able to figure it out until that last game of that regular season. We all know what happened, but after that, that's what makes teams the best, and that's what's scary about this Penn State team. They got a great defense to rely on, a great defensive coordinator, as I know. And Drew Aller's a senior quarterback, a veteran quarterback that's ready to go to the playoffs. So this isn't the end for Penn State by any means, but they're still unproven. And cupcake schedule until November hits. Moving on, we got another game. This was a game where I thought Kirby Smart, another guy that has problems winning against this certain team. He has an Alabama problem. Everybody thought it was a Saban problem. It's now an Alabama problem. You just let DeBoer come in and snap your home game winning streak that was all the way into like 2020, the pandemic. Like that was the last time they lost at home. So I'm expecting an Alabama team that was still unproven up to this point. Florida State, we'll get into them a little bit later. They lost to them week 1. Was able to bounce back with a couple games. But Ty Simpson, I think he's put on a Heisman candidate type game with this one right here, going to Athens and playing like that. Shout out him. But as far as that Georgia offense goes, Gunnar Stockton looked like a completely different person. I don't know what was really going on with him, but the offense just couldn't get going with him. And as far as Bowens goes, the running back, shout out him, man. He was keeping him in this game. Very tight game. But yeah, and also just a note for me, that Georgia defense. That's not Georgia defense. That's not the Georgia defense I know. I'm missing a lot of key. like a lot of like star players that they're used to. And a lot of people just assume that Georgia's defense is going to reload. I didn't really see that. They only lost by 3, and I don't want to make a big scene about it. But this is a Georgia team that almost lost to Tennessee if their kicker knows how to kick a field goal. And this team could have easily been 2 losses now. They were able to scrape out the Tennessee win and lose by 3 to Alabama. But I still don't know what I got with Gunnar Stockton. He's going to have to prove it to me a little bit more because he really didn't seem like himself out there. Again, I don't know what himself is looking like because he's only played a couple games. But Ty Simpson, I don't know. He's looking wonderful. DJ, how you feel about this one? Classic.
I think the score. My bad. I don't think the score reflects honestly on how the game was played. In my opinion, at least from how I saw it, I thought Bama had that step the entire time.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
100%. They're playing catch up. Georgia was.
But I didn't think Georgia really was like. Usually Georgia has that tough grittiness to where they could just grit their way to a lead and then just maintain it. I didn't see that this game. This game was more of like a net, like they got shot. They pretty much got punched down early. Now they had to just play catch up. Like they couldn't rebound back. So, overall, like it's definitely a tough, gritty matchup. Alabama, even though they definitely had the step, I'm more surprised they didn't take it more further on. I know there was a couple miscues, especially by Ryan Williams, which is kind of shocking to hear, given how much hype he was given.
Yeah,
a little he didn't have the best of games, and I know he dropped I think he dropped an early touchdown, I believe, in that first quarter or something like that.
Would have easily been a touchdown. He dropped it early,
So,
and he has somewhere around like a 26% drop rate this year.
Damn.
So
it's
he's not
it's
looking
not
like
looking
himself.
the best for him, but obviously, one game doesn't really dictate a player that fast. They still got a tough schedule. We're gonna see that onwards, but I thought Alabama could have took it a little further, but they didn't. Georgia kept it close. And overall, it was just a bit of like an insight into how both teams are at the moment. I think Alabama, they definitely rebounded well from that Florida State loss. Definitely rebounded well. You literally cannot ask for any much more of a rebound than beating Georgia. And you snapped their home win streak. They was on a 33, right? 34 home win streak, something like that.
Up like that.
Dude, that's but it was like 30. I know it was 30 something. It was insane. At the time, it was the highest home streak. So it was like, bro, big way to prove it. Georgia, they're just in the mix. I don't know what else like they can improve on. Obviously, the quarterback could play better, Gunnar Stockton, but it's like, will one quarterback really fix everything? Like, who knows? Like, because the defense wasn't consistent at all either. That's what made Georgia like pretty interesting in this game. Like that defense was not like usually that Georgia defense will always be consistent. Like even if they drop some, they'll always be consistent. They'll clutch up at that big moment. It just wasn't there this time. I think like I don't know. It's tough to say right now for both teams. Obviously this is more of a big win for Bama. I think they're number 10 now. Such a big win. Rebounded very well. Georgia's like 12. So it's looking kind of grim for both teams because in the SEC right now, there's a couple teams that are technically undefeated, even though they do got to face some tougher teams eventually in the future. But it was a good game, but not the best of games overall in terms of watch because I know that second half was pretty dead, damn near. But it was a tough, gritty game if you watch it through and through. So I can't complain.
Yeah.
What about you, Rex?
I'm curious on what the Crimson Tide fans are feeling now. Obviously, they had the Boer on the hot seat. They ready to get him out of there. Like we don't want the Boer no more. But what does this mean now? The Boer got to win over Kirby Smart. He just snapped that home streak. Does this calm okay? You know what? We'll see how the rest of the season goes and see where it takes. Or is it still the situation like, hey, this win did a little something, but we're gonna need more. We're gonna need probably the SEC championship. We're gonna need at least a win in the playoffs. So it's like I'm more curious on what's going on over there, how they're feeling, and then onto Georgia. Man, I was not expecting Kirby Smart to fall to the board. I'm not gonna lie. I thought the board was done for. Going to Georgia, going the rest of the season. I thought Alabama's cooked. It's over for them. But now this is college football. This is why we watch college football. You think one team is over and done and over with? Boom, over there. They get this win over a big team that you didn't think you were gonna win. Obviously, Georgia looked a little shaky, just like how Cam said if Tennessee had a kicker, Georgia probably would have had a second loss already. So it's like. It's just like all these teams that's now being tested a little bit. The scale is being shifted just by that little minuscule. It just if Tennessee had a kicker, Georgia had 2 losses. The board didn't lose to Florida State. They'll be undefeated and they beat Georgia. So I didn't really watch this game, so I couldn't really like go into detail. I didn't watch a lot of this game. I'm not even gonna lie. So, but yeah.
For me, it's Ty Simpson still has thrown an interception. We're going to week 6, fellas. If you're not willing to face Alabama and worry about trying to pressure Ty Simpson, he's just gonna throw on you, bro. And I think that pressure is very important when you face this Alabama team because it's just what I've seen from Ty Simpson is like that offense. He just has weapons and he has the ball placement to put this ball wherever he wants. And you see the receiving end, you see 5 receptions, 2 receptions, 2 receptions, 5 receptions. He's getting that ball to everybody. He's distributing that ball to everybody, and he's unfazed by the pressure because there is none. And fucking Caden Proctor's over here getting a fucking a pass and shit. At the end of the second, I'm like, yo, he's getting a first down. I'm like, yo, this dude is like 300 pounds, bro. He should not be getting that first down on the goal line, bro. That was insane to watch. I'm like,
yeah.
Whose fat ass is that with that small ass jersey? Oh, that's fucking Caden Proctor with his stomach out, fucking catching the ball. That shit was insane to me. That was wild. But again, Georgia's defense, I don't know what I got with them, and this SEC is wide open to this point because everybody was saying the SEC goes through Athens. Well, Alabama just went to Athens and came out with the win, and now I don't know who has the SEC in the chokehold because that team out in Baton Rouge losing, and this SEC, these matchups is about to get wild. It's gonna be very interesting, very, very interesting. I'm happy. This is what college football is all about. Alabama needed this win to stay with 1 loss, and it was able to get it done, man. Shout out the board. The board. If you stop comparing him to Nick Saban, he's a good fucking coach. Man.
Yeah,
every place he went to, bro, he knows how to turn around programs and win games, bro.
Yeah.
Look at that Husky team, bro.
Yeah.
Like, stop it, bro. Shout out him, man. He really whipped it into these players, and I think we now got what this Alabama team is.
All right. I don't wanna force us, but let's try to wrap this up in 20 minutes, possibly. Yeah, time to move quick.
20 minutes? Holy. All right, let's move on now.
We good.
All right, let's move on. Number 4 LSU falls to Ole Miss Rebels with a Division II national championship quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss. He got the start early in the season. Kirby Smart on Twitter said pick the over. Why? Because his daughter is dating Whit Weeks, the captain on the defense. He's a hard-hitting safety or a hard-hitting linebacker, pretty fucking good. And yeah, he fucking shit. Y'all seen on the field like he was ready. Shout out was it with Trinidad Chambliss, 300 yards. Everybody was scared. Oh, this LSU defense, we can rely on them. What do we get with the offense? You don't get nothing. You get 19 points. You don't get a win. Garrett Nussmeier, again, same boat as Drew Aller, supposed to be a great quarterback, is not looking like it. They got great wide receivers, one of the best receiver rooms in the country, in my opinion, and are not be able to get it done. Trinidad Chambliss, like I said, I can't praise him enough. I don't think Austin Simmons is getting his job back. I don't know if he's still injured. I don't know why he got the start. And shout out Keywan Lacey. That offense is so dynamic, and I love it. Trinidad Chambliss can get it done on his feet, and he's able to be dynamic and rip through this whole LSU defense. And now Ole Miss is ranked number 5 in the country or 4 in the country?
I think 4.
They're 4 in the country. Come on now, who had that on their bucket list? I don't think even Ole Miss did. But shout out Trinidad Chambliss. That I'm telling you, that offense 2 weeks ago was looking nice. That Tulane win last week was looking nice, and now Trinidad does it against LSU.
Damn.
BJ.
Yo, Cam speaking on 2 times, bro.
Nah.
Speaking on 2 times, but nah. To keep it short and sweet, I mean, this is such a big win for Ole Miss. Literally You beat LSU, who was like number 3, number 4, whatever they were.
Mm.
Such a big win at home. You know, there's a little bit of personal stake in there, a little funny stuff. You know, with weeks, you know, take an over type shit, but take the over. But it definitely a tough matchup for both teams. But Ole Miss got the dub, and now it sets up Ole Miss very well for the future because they do have some tough games ahead. And this was definitely a prove it type of game, how I see it at least. Ole Miss definitely proved it. Now onwards, they just gotta tough out this SEC type of schedule. But this is definitely a good start for them. So I can't say nothing more than that. What about you, Rick?
Honestly, I did not. I'm happy to see Ole Miss shining the way they are. That they if you got watch the earlier pod, we was like, hey, Ole Miss, they got some game coming up. If they can win this out, Ole Miss is looking like that dark horse. Look at them. The SEC is wide open. This is crazy. Ole Miss, like I said, is number 4 now. LSU dropping. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. Welcome to college football is all I know, man. So I'm excited to see where the SEC go. Freaking Alabama, having a DeBoer problem. Chris might just lose to Alabama. LSU just drop to Ole Miss. I don't got much to say. Does Ole Miss take it all the way? Like they still have a couple games left right before we really decide. Yeah, they still got Georgia, Oklahoma still. So,
but we got Ole Miss having a senior quarterback, Division II national championship winner. So they have the experience in that front. He's a great dual threat, and I just think the Thanksgiving dinner is going to be very interesting for what's his face in Weeks sitting across the table now. I think after the game he was like, I need to find Whit and I need to see if that overhit. Yeah, not much to say. Ole Miss is still, you know, the SEC is wide open. Shout out Saban for retiring. This is what happens in college football, and I'm a fan of a lot of these teams that haven't got the praise that they have gotten on a national level. They're now starting to get it, and Ole Miss is one of them teams. We can move on to the biggest game in the Big Ten this week. We got a ranked matchup between 21 USC Trojans versus the 23 Fighting Illini, Illinois. Illinois, as we know, you know, the experienced team. USC, very unproven, but Jane Mayava's looking like that guy over there. And after this game, even though they lost, and I was a big fan of USC, Mayava's still that guy. He's going to be a problem in the next couple years. And then that Lincoln Riley offense, it's just, he's looking unstoppable. That man, Makai Lemon, that's a guy that you're gonna hear his name called later this year, or I guess next year in a couple months, as a day 1, day 2 pick easily. And as far as this Illinois game or this Illinois team is, I'm glad they were able to bounce back. They needed this, and this just proves that maybe Indiana's way better than we think, and Illinois isn't a trash team. That's all I could take from this game. Luke Allmeyer was able to get it done. He showed his veteran capability, throwing for 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not a lot of bad throws. I feel like he was very accurate and got his receivers the ball a lot. And shout out the run game he established early for Illinois. It helped Allmeyer a lot. Just calm down in that game. But as far as Mayava goes, bright future ahead of him. Didn't play bad by any means. And shout out Wayman Jordan. He was able to just punch that ball in a couple times and was able to really get the ground game going, so Mayava can do what he does on that offense. VJ?
Man, that's it. I watched this game. It was, 12 o'clock. I think it's probably the only 12 o'clock game I really cared about. Dude, definitely a good one for Illinois. Like you just said, this Indiana might be better than we thought. This is a great rebound by Illinois. They just beat arguably a great, USC. They have Lincoln Riley. They're going to have a great offense somehow, some way. This is definitely a good win for Illinois. Definitely came back, did it like a game-winning field goal, in a sense. I remember seeing it. I was like, yep. So,
people were controversial on like USC scoring too early because they basically had the game-winning touchdown right then and there, and they was like, oh, you gave them too much time type thing to get in field goal range, and now that ended up costing them.
It wasn't until, you just said, I think it was to Makai Lemon, bro. That Makai Lemon's legit, bro. When I was watching the game, the commentators were comparing them to JSN. I was like, that's a big comparison, but hey, if he's like that, he like that. I can't hate on the bro like that. So USC also, yeah, bro, went insane. I give a shout out to USC though, because USC, they still in that realm of ranked possibility. You basically went blow for blow with Illinois, who technically was a ranked
top 10 team. They were a top 10 team last week.
Technically, they were like highly ranked. So I give them their props. I can't dismiss it. USC definitely does have a tough schedule though. They face Notre Dame like they usually do. I think, but I mean, we'll see for the future onwards. We don't know about that. But this year they face Notre Dame. That's definitely gonna be a fun game given both offenses right now looking like they're insane. So, good one for Illinois. USC, honestly, they can bounce back. I hope they can bounce back because they look great this game. They just need to work some kinks out on defense, and I think they'll be in the shape. What you been, Rack?
Yeah, obviously USC haven't been really tested this year or this season so far. So to see them, falling down to Illinois just by a field goal kick, USC got a bright future. USC was looking like that team that was just like it had a bright past and their future looking grim. But now they have a future in Jaden Mayava, and I guess look forward to seeing more of USC next year. USC still have a few two ranked. They play Michigan right after. Michigan is. I'm not gonna lie. It will dictate the Big Ten a little bit. Do USC get over? Does Michigan fall? Where does that go? It just because Michigan still got that freshman starter back in Bryce Underwood. They lost to Oklahoma obviously. USC just lost to Illinois, and obviously Illinois lost to freaking Indiana. So it's just like, it's Big Ten play. It's just like who's going to get the upper hand here. So all these games about to matter. Will USC be able to win over Michigan? If they win over Michigan, I'm pretty sure they stay ranked at possibly like 25, 24. But we gotta see the rest of the league obviously because all these upsets going on. Any team could be ranked at any point at this point. So, yeah, that's all I got.
All right, we can move on to some SEC action. Texas A&M, another one of them teams I like in the SEC. I love their offense. They only able to put up 16, but they were able to squeak out the dub. Auburn only scored 10 points. Jackson Arnold. A lot of people saying Auburn got a Jackson Arnold problem. What did Oklahoma do with Jackson Arnold as the quarterback? They only kept him as a starter for 1 year, got him up out of there. He now is a starter at Auburn, and I don't know how this offense even gets put out every week, and they're satisfied with this as an Auburn offensive coordinator. It is mind-blowing to watch. Jackson Arnold got sacked another 5 times. That's, I think, 17 in 2 weeks. Jesus Christ. And no run game. Like, they ran it fucking 6 times to their starter Jeremiah Cobb. Like, what do you want him to do? Drop back? No one likes to block, so he just keeps fucking getting sacked. Like, holy shit, bruh. And like, as far it's just crazy to watch because the Texas A&M team only scored 16 points, bro. This is where you're supposed to take that and go to the moon. This is supposed to be your bounce back win, Auburn, but you weren't able to get it done. Marcel Reed again looked like himself a little bit, but it was a very calm game. Casey Concepcion, he was the highly touted wide receiver, but Mario Craver, the transfer from Mississippi State, has looked like the better wide receiver up to this point, and this looks like a KCC game and like the breakout game. He put up 100 yards, and Mario Craver will kind of took the backseat for this game, but Le'Veon Moss is the talk of this Texas A&M offense, and why is it so important that like if you face a Texas A&M team, you have a lot of ground to cover if you're a bad defense, or this needs to be like something you highlight. Is Le'Veon Moss can do it to you. 21 carries, 140 yards, and a touchdown. There wasn't a lot of touchdowns in this game, but Le'Veon Moss had one of them and put up 140 yards at that. And again, 16-10. This was the game that Auburn needed, and they weren't able to get it done. And Jackson Arnold, he took a couple sacks, held the ball on a little bit too long. But as far as the offensive line goes, I think they got a vendetta against Jackson Arnold. I don't know what he did to them, but they obviously hate him. They're not trying out there. But VJ, how you feel about this?
I mean, you kind of summed it up. I think this should have been like a bounce back game for Auburn. I mean, Auburn has a defense in a way. They have a solid defense. They have offensive weapons. I don't know what the hell they got going on with it. Like,
yeah,
what they calling fucking
them.
Like, bro, they calling like at this point you might as well just try a jet sweep. I don't know what
like just start running with fucking Jackson Arnold, bro. His arm,
bro.
like they can't use him. So
like I don't know. Auburn it should be a bounce back game. Granted, A&M should have definitely did more too.
I mean, the way at College Station, you're in College Station. If you check A&M, you should be throwing over top on there. But
A&M should have done way more. But they squeaked out the win. In a sense, you could say tough, gritty win. To me, it was just like what are these two teams doing? Like, they're not playing really at their best or doing their best. So I can't really speak on it too much because there really wasn't much to say on. I mean, you basically summed it up. So, I mean, what's your opinion, right?
I got nothing. On to the next, bro. There's a low scoring game. 16-10. Jesus, Auburn got no offense. Yeah, on to the next, bro.
We got the final game before we get into 2-minute drill. We got number 8 Florida State playing on a Friday. Hey, you got Miami next week, Florida State. You can't look ahead. You should focus on Virginia. That was the exact quote from the announcer. He basically said that right at the start of the game, and it looks like they looked ahead because that man Chandler Morris had Virginia looking like that they should have been ranked. 3 interceptions. Just don't look at that stat. That's the only one you can't look at. He put the team on his back. He was really doing his thing. And yeah, I don't know what to say about Florida State. It was kind of like just playing catch up the entire time. They was trying. It was tight at times, but they were going pound for pound with Virginia. It was going back and forth, and they was able to squeak it out. Virginia was in double overtime. Squirrel White basically got trampled by the crowd in the fastest crowd storming I've ever seen. Yeah, I was looking at this because I seen the crowd storm, and I was watching the highlights, and I'm looking at it like, damn, they have like 8 security guards on right next to the students because it's like just a hill. It's not a student section. They don't got seats. And I'm like, well, what are these 4 gonna do? And then I see them playing fucking some safeties back, and they had like 6 safeties in the back. Like you're not stopping all these people, buddy. And basically, once that 4th down went and the ball was dropped, Squirrel White basically got trampled. Yeah, I don't think we've heard about him since then. But yeah, shout out Virginia. They got their win. This is a great fucking season for them. They're now 2-0 in ACC play, and yeah. Is Florida State really them? I don't know.
Damn.
VJ?
Dude, this is damn near upset of probably the month.
The year.
Like something, bro. This is insane. Like Florida State, the way they looked at the beginning, you would assume Florida State, they beat Bama.
Coast.
Bro, you're like, bro, you beat Bama convincingly. You're like, yo, this Florida State team already looking better. They got more than 2 wins. They already beat last year's record. We good. Next thing you know, they dropped the bag to Virginia. I'm like, yo, what's going on? This was on a Friday night, such a smooth night. I was chilling. Boom, this shit happened. I'm like, nice, bro. I think this game literally represents why we love college football. There's nothing else I can really speak on. You summed up the whole thing.
Fans storming, everything.
Literally, like this is the reason why college football is college football. This is the atmosphere. This is why we love it. There's nothing else I can say. Like upsets like this out of the blue in some overtime, bro. You never expect it. So Florida State, I mean, this isn't good for them. They got Miami next. I think, are they home or are they away? I do not remember. But
they're home.
I mean, I guess that helps, but it's still Miami. Miami still look great. I mean, they got a stout defense. Offense is still there. They didn't die yet. So, I mean, Virginia. I mean, we got to see Virginia. I didn't know nothing about Virginia until this game. They must be him or something. Like, you beat Florida State. And then you damn near the fastest field rush I've ever seen. Well, I'm pretty sure record time 5 seconds. Like I said, we lost.
It was 3 seconds. Once that ball hit the ground, bro, they were storming. It was gone. Bro,
like you said, Squirrel White disappeared. Literally, I'm pretty sure they might have like a poster saying missing. Reward 5,000 something, bro. I literally haven't heard nothing. I hope he's actually fine because that was crazy. Like, bro was on the ground too, by the way. Let's not ignore that.
That's why he got trampled, bro.
Like, bro, he was on the ground, bro. He's gone, bro. It about to look like the damn Astro Road shit from Travis Scott shit, bro. It looked crazy.
That's what I thought, bro. That's exactly what I thought of. And then you got the one fan that was running past Castellano.
Oh yeah, he flipped him off. That's the most funniest shit I saw. I was like, yeah, that whole minute of just the
chaos.
Drop, and then the chaos, that's college football. That's why I love it. So there's nothing more for me to say.
This is peak college football. This week right here, the multiple overtime games. I think it was three out of the top 5 lost, and then like 4 out of the top 10 lost or something like that. I don't know what the stat is, but it's something crazy like that. But yeah, Slicks, got anything to add?
Yeah.
Nope. To me, the only thing is like I'm sad that Florida State lost this because I really want them to really take it all the way, be undefeated, and really be tested later on. But for them to drop, it happens, bro. But it's like, man, they should locked in every single game, bro. Yeah. On to the next one.
All right, this is a 2-minute drill. The first one, we got a banger right here. We got Tennessee squeaking out a win against a 2-win Mississippi State team from last year. They were able to win in overtime 41-34. Joey Aguilar put up 300 yards, still looking like that guy. Mac Matthews, Chris Brazel, they put up 200 yards combined. Are we serious right now? These guys, like, I'm gonna lie. Joey Aguilar got them looking like first-round picks out there. Brazel down the field looking great. But shout out Mississippi State. This is a team that Tennessee should probably roll over real early and just kept the lead, very steady at the end. But it was always competitive almost all the way through. Blake Shapen still looking like that guy from Mississippi State. Maybe a top 10 quarterback in the SEC. But yeah, Mississippi State is not a team that you can look over if it's on our schedule. Because look at number 15 Tennessee that almost beat Georgia. Could have been a top 5 team if they win that. So look what they struggled with for Mississippi State. SEC is deep this year. And then we move on to the number 1 team in the country. We got Ohio State being able to just shut down this Washington offense. And Damon Williams looking like a star in the making potentially, but not this game. Not this game. He looked good this game, but he wasn't able to score any touchdowns, get in the end zone, nothing like that. Shout out Ohio State. We have a whole podcast covering that. So if you want a more deep dive, the Buckeye fan film room, drop in on Tuesday. We record Monday. Whatever you get the reaction, deeper breakdown. But again, shout out Ohio State, just getting their job done in a week where a lot of top 10 teams dropped. With the competition that Ohio State played, they was able to take care of business. Moving on, we're gonna keep in the Big Ten fashion. We got number 11 Indiana being able to keep this little streak going. Fernando Mendoza looking like that guy still was able to win 20-15 against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Gronowski, I think he got injured in the game or something like that, so that's something to keep an eye on. But as far as Mendoza, he's still keeping on the Heisman campaign. He's still looking like that guy when it comes to these passes. One of his receivers, Elijah Surratt, I forget how you say it. He's one of them guys that might be make first team Big Ten. But shout out Iowa keeping it close, wasn't able to squeak out the win. And then Mendoza ended up taking a sack late in the end zone, got a safety. He ended up apologizing to the gamblers. I appreciate that and making it a bit more. So I might have to vote for you for Heisman. I appreciate that. And then we go to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech likes to play great against ranked opponents and only good ranked opponents because the Demon Deacons out of Wake Forest almost upsetted them. It took Haynes King, again, being that guy, and this was one of them games where I think refs got in the way a little bit, and maybe a lot of it, actually, because there was a couple plays where I don't know, the refs was very lenient on it, but this is one of them games where it looked like, oh, Georgia Tech, I don't know if they're going to be that guy. I don't know if Haynes King is going to continue to be able to keep this. And this is one of them scary games where it's like, I think a loss is inevitable for Georgia Tech. Maybe I'm wrong, but again, Haynes King got 100 on the ground, 243 over the passing game. But shout out Wake Forest for keeping it close. Shout out that running back. Damon Claiborne, he was one of them guys that could have been a great running back at the start of the season. Not saying he's not, but he was the guy to keep the eye on in one of them tiers to be one of the front runners for this class. But he put up 100 yards and 2 touchdowns for Wake Forest to keep him in the game. Shout out Wake Forest again. And then we got Arizona State. If you know, we talked about the Mississippi State team a couple weeks ago or a couple games ago. Just almost beating Tennessee. Well, Arizona State lost to them. So how good is that loss to Arizona State? People have written off Arizona State already. They lost to Mississippi State, and Mississippi State must be ass, right? No, they're not. Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson. Again, Jordan Tyson's probably the best wide receiver going into this class, and Sam Levitt was a guy that was a Heisman sleeper. They were able to knock off the TCU Horned Frogs at number 24 ranked in the nation. They only scored 24 points. Arizona State squeaked it out at 27. And Josh Hoover, again, a great quarterback. We know how good he is. He led that TCU team to a national championship a couple years ago. And what was that, 2023, 2022, something like that. He's still their guy. And now the Big 12 is looking a little bit more wide open because Arizona State's figuring that out. So shout out Arizona State, good bounce back win, and they're still going to be tested in the coming weeks to see if they're really like that. But that Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson connection is getting scary now because now you've done got them started. Mississippi State's looking nice, and now look like a good loss. And people hate good losses, but that's just what it is. Moving on to more Big 12 action, we got the Kansas State Wildcats. You know, they were 1-3 going into this game. They have nothing to lose. Let Avery Johnson sling it. All right. Need I say more? 34 points. They beat the Scott Frost-led UCF Knights to their first loss of the season. And again, Avery Johnson they just took the chains off, let him go. This season's over with for Kansas State, basically. They're just trying to go bowling, trying to have a little fun with it. Avery Johnson still in his developmental state. I guess that's what we'll call it for this season. And next season, he could be even more dangerous. I also picked him for Heisman, by the way. But I'm not gonna speak on that anymore, because that looks like an ass pick. Meanwhile, we got 25th ranked BYU Cougars got a scare from Colorado, and I say a scare because in that first quarter, Kane Solter, that guy that looked good last week, looked good on his first 2 drives. He scored back-to-back touchdowns. Where were they in the second half, or maybe even in the second quarter? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But this BYU defense basically locked him down the rest of the time, and BYU was undefeated in the Big 12, in the Big 12 they're undefeated, but also on the year they're undefeated, looking really nice, and they were able to survive the scare for Colorado. But Colorado still has a lot of woes to figure it out. But it's definitely Kane Solter's that guy. He just needs to be more consistent, because back-to-back drives where he scored touchdowns, maybe keep that a little bit more consistent and you win this game. You only lost by 3. But it was right there for them the whole time, and they weren't able to take it. And now Deion falls to 2-3, 0-2 in the Big 12. So, yeah, Colorado's going to have a tough schedule ahead of them. And then, keeping in the Big 12, Cincinnati Bearcats, not a team we talked about. They lost early to Nebraska. I think it was week 1, actually, when Dylan Raiola played in his dad's stadium, talking about the Kansas City Chiefs stadium. They lost early, but they're now 1-0 in Big 10, Big 12 action. They beat the Kansas Jayhawks 37-34 in Kansas Jayhawks stadium. And Jalen Daniels, again, threw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. But they still were able to lose somehow. And yeah, that Kansas defense, oh my God, it's headaches out there for a watcher, and I can only assume for that team itself. Not much to say, but Cincinnati's a sleeper team. Let's see how far they can go in the Big 12 and how much can they compete. How good is this team? And then we got a basketball matchup. Oh no, this is actually football. Duke Blue Devils versus the Syracuse Orange. Remember Syracuse? They beat Clemson. So Syracuse looking nice, right? No, they put up 3 fucking points to Duke and lost 38-3. I watched this game just to see how good Syracuse was. They wasn't good at all. So Dabo, I'm gonna need another press conference, because buddy, you just had your bye week. I really hope you're ready for this ACC action, because yeah, Syracuse is looking like a bottom feeder in ACC. Shout out Fran Brown, but it wasn't his week. But again, they lost a quarterback last week to Clemson, so keep that in mind. But Aaron Mensah, looking like that guy, 22 for 28, looking pretty fucking nice. He's finally finding his mojo. He's 2-0 in ACC action. And what can the Blue Devils do this year? I don't know. But you know what Clemson's not doing? Not winning the ACC. That's for damn sure. And then we got the bottom feeders in the Big 10. Which one of y'all are the most ass? It's UCLA. They just fired their head coach 2 weeks ago. And yeah, they're 0-4. And I don't see them getting a win this year. It sounds crazy. They're gonna have to upset somebody to get a win. This team could legitimately go 0-12. It's mind blowing. Nico Iamaleava, maybe you should donate all your fucking money to somewhere else and transfer, because this shit is not it, bro. You still got like a week or 2 to transfer. I think you should do that. Because Nico's their whole offense. He's not playing the best, but shit, I don't think UCLA as a team is playing pretty good. And Northwestern somehow gets a win in Big 10. Yeah, Northwestern's maybe not the worst team in the Big 10. But UCLA need to take that money that they use for their fucking basketball program and use it to football, maybe. I don't know. Big 12 action, we got Utah. They basically got that belt last week by Texas Tech. They ended up losing, but now they're back on track. West Virginia Mountaineers only put up 14 points, and that was in the second half. They're basically getting that belt the whole time. But shout out Dan Pierre. He played pretty well. I'm very hypercritical on his deep ball accuracy, and there was a couple times in this game where that was on display, where he was still struggling. But yeah, Utah's still in it. Like don't let that Texas game. Texas Tech is a very good team. But shout out to Utah, still in Big 12 action, I feel like. Arizona State goes on a road to Iowa State, and oh look, Iowa State can actually win a game without Rocco Beck having to lead a game-winning drive every trip. Oh, surprising enough, Iowa State needs to get their credit. How are they not a top 10 team? I don't understand it. They're 5-0. Rocco Beck is that guy. Like, he should damn near be a Heisman in my opinion. I don't know what else you want from him. Just put the whole team on his back, and they're going to work. Arizona drops to 3-1, 0-1 in Big 12 action. Noah Fafita, I thought was somebody in his Arizona team itself could be a team that could upset a couple people, but it's not gonna be Iowa State, especially not this week. They were on point. Shout out Iowa State, finally getting a lead, and a big lead at that, and holding it. That's the first time we've seen that this year. And then when we move on to the AC, back to the ACC, we got Virginia Tech, the Hokies. They fired their coach 2 weeks ago after going 0-3. Back-to-back wins now. And Kyron Jones actually looking like a decent quarterback. And NC State and CJ Bailey now dropped 2 in a row. They were just 3-0. They actually beat that Virginia team that just upsetted Florida State. So how good is the NC State team? Well, they're not better than Virginia Tech. That's all I can tell you. But shout out NC State. Like I always say, CJ Bailey, he's Jeremiah Smith's quarterback in high school, so I'm gonna be a fan of him. But CJ Bailey is a guy that can throw it over the top. I enjoy him. He's a very good pocket passer. But yeah, this week wasn't his week. And shout out Jones for making a little comeback. And then we hit the SEC. Yeah, that South Carolina team that had 2 losses, one of them to Vanderbilt, and I'm pretty sure they lost last week. This could have been a game where they just kept sloping down. The Kentucky team that I thought was going to be able to get some wins, I don't think they're going to be able to get to win. Calzada, their quarterback, is basically out for unknown amount of time. But Lenore Sellers, we had 2 defensive touchdowns for South Carolina. Oh my God, Lenore doesn't have to put the whole team on his back. Thank you. Thank you. I enjoyed that game a lot. Again, Sellers just basically went back to his bread and butter. He had 14 carries for 81 yards on the ground. That's just who Lenore Sellers is. And I think he still is one of them like top 3 quarterbacks going into this draft. And I don't think he's gonna stay for a senior season. I wouldn't, because watching these South Carolina teams is fucking a headache to me. Because most of the time they can't do anything on defense. But this week with their backup quarterback in Kentucky, they was able to struggle and was basically able to squeak out that win before going all the way down. Again, South Carolina lost to Missouri last week and Bo Pabula, which that Missouri team is another one that's very good in my opinion. And they lost to they lose to South Carolina, lost to Missouri, and whoever I said before that. And now finally on to the last matchup, and this is why I got it last. There's a reason, and it's Notre Dame 22 was able to get it done. I talk about that Penn State backfield looking pretty good, but this one's a little bit better. Jadaean Price, he had what? 1 touchdown? Oh, Jeremiah Love, the number 1 running back going into this draft, he had 4. He had 4 touchdowns, 2 receiving and 2 running. Like, I don't know what more. Like I just really, in my opinion, don't want to face this Notre Dame team if we go down the line. And this was a game I really wanted to see Taylon Green take off. Senior quarterback looking really good, 200 yards, 81 yards running. But yeah, this offense does not look good at all. It's Taylon Green and fucking a whole bunch of high schoolers at this point. And one of the reasons their head coach got fired is because this game was never close. This game was never close. You let Jeremiah Love have 4 touchdowns on you, and then you got another 4 touchdowns with CJ Carr. CJ Carr is looking like that guy, 350 yards. Then back-to-back ranked games against them opponents. A lot of them teams, both of them teams are lucky that they faced Notre Dame early in the season, because I don't think they would have had the same result if Notre Dame was to play them now. In my opinion, they finally found a flow in the offense, and it's looking really good. They just dominated this SEC team that now has fired their head coach, and Arkansas has dropped 3 games in a row, one of them being Memphis, who they choked, and then the game before, they ended up it's a costly turnover on the last drive, and even in the Memphis game, their running back was fumbling in the clutch, and now they got blown out by Notre Dame. And that takes us into Sam Pittman being fired. He's out at Arkansas. And there's a lot of head coaches that could potentially take over for him. But it's looking like Arkansas offense coordinator Bobby Petrino. I don't know if anybody knows about that guy, but basically 10 years ago, he had an affair with like a 21-year-old and ended up crashing his motorcycle. And in doing so, he injured her and himself. He came in famously with a neck brace. He's kind of a terrible fucking human, but a great fucking football coach and coordinator. But it looked like he might take over for them for the time being. And Arkansas said he is definitely in the running for the head coaching candidacy. So, yeah, good luck. Good luck to Arkansas. Shout out Arkansas, but not shout out Bobby Petrino.
W2-minute drill. W2-minute drill.
Bro, I was going, bro. I was flying, bro.
Shit, I'm not lying. I fuck with that segment. I'm not gonna lie. I fuck with that segment.
Y'all could have chimed in, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was reading off my notes like on the front, so I didn't see none of y'all faces. I don't know if you were.
No, I was so locked in. I was like,
I was trying to remember. Like, I was keeping intact, and like some of the stuff I know, but the rest is like, okay. I'm kind of just like, you're basically my news at the
yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh shit.
What you saying?
Yeah.
All right. So next episode, we're gonna be doing a pregame episode. Preview. We're gonna be talking about the matchups this week. It's not as much, not as highly ranked matchups, but there's still a couple games, a lot of games I want to highlight and talk. And we're gonna do that next episode. It's kind of like I'll be yapping a lot, so instead of a 2-hour episode every week, we're gonna try to do 1 hour. Even though this one I think is over an hour, unfortunately. But I try to keep the lapping to a minimum. But it is what it is.
That's alright. But yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Obviously, I wish we could yap a little bit more, but my schedule is tight. I am technically late, but it is what it is. Priorities is, we got to lock in on this. It's my fault, really. Time timing management, moving, but everything's all over the place. It's been us. It's been 1 foot in college football. Appreciate you, Cam. Appreciate you, VJ, for everything y'all do. Like I said, go down link in the description. We are live Thursday, 6 p.m., 8 p.m. We're doing the preview into next week. This Thursday. Also, I don't know if y'all interested. The beta dropped this, right? This Thursday?
Yeah, this Thursday.
This Thursday. So, if y'all interested in Call of Duty, I'll probably be playing that. That's right after the podcast. So, the podcast first, then gaming after. So, if you guys are only interested in the podcast, come in, tune in. If you're from the Buckeye Fan Fit Room, like I said, if you want to talk about Buckeye Fan Fit Room, we're still live. We don't. We'll be willing to discuss, talk, whatever, any question that y'all want to discuss. Just head over there, talk to us. Like I said, link in the description. It should be my link. Go click the Twitch link. Follow me over there. Like I said, all three of us will be there and talking about all things college football. But yeah, we're gonna wrap it up here. We appreciate all of the support. We'll probably catch you guys either this Thursday or in the comment section on YouTube this Friday. Easy.